this is Sandy. We're continuing on with our sketching. We've done our door, we've done our geraniums, we've done it with ink, and then we've added on our sketch pads the brush pens, the water-based brush pens. And I showed you how to put color in without ruining your sketch pad. Next, we're going to go on to hatch marks. I know I've talked about them and we've done them before, but we're going to concentrate on actually making a picture with hatch marks. What we're building up to is scratch boards. So I thought, what better thing to start our lesson with hatch marks by start doing a teddy bear. So this is a Build-A-Bear teddy bear. We have so many Build-A-Bears around, and I figured everybody knows what a Build-A-Bear is. What we're going to be using, no color. We're going to be using our pigment pens, and I've got a mechanical pencil here. And then just in case we need to really look at something on our picture, we've just got some gel pens that we're going to use. So we're going to get started here. We're going to talk about hatch marks first. I'm going to put the hatch marks, different types of hatch marks, up here, and then I'm leaving space on my paper for my bear to fit in. So if I create 6 boxes, they don't have to be very precise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to use 6 different types of hatch marks. You know, sometimes hatch marks are also called hash marks, and if I intermix those two things, they are the same thing. So the first one we're going to do is parallel. And I spelled parallel, maybe wrong. We'll see. And a parallel line is the same distance apart, the top and the bottom. We don't have to measure, but we basically know that a parallel line is going to be the same top as the same bottom. There we go. That's parallel cross-hatching. These lines can be large, but it's best if they're small. So I've made these really large, just to give you an example. But if I were using these, don't think I want them more than a 1/2 inch long. Okay, the next one is called contour. Now, contour is a curvature. So a contour line, and I'm going to do a couple of these, might be this way. I'm basically keeping them parallel. Maybe I can go this way. But what this is going to do, it's going to create movement. Notice I'm not real precise here. But what you see is a movement in the contour. The next one, and we used this the last time on our doors and our geraniums, is called cross-hatching. Cross-hatching, and I'm going to not do it in a long line. I'm going to try and keep my lines about a 1/2 inch. Is going this way, and then turning around and going the opposite way. I can just put them together, or I can be very precise how I'm putting them together. But basically, my cross-hatching here is all up and down, side to side. Okay, that's cross-hatching. You could cross-hatch your contour also. Now, the next one is called fine cross-hatching. How do you think we're going to get fine cross-hatching done here? Remember, our pins come in different sizes, and it's the smallest one, the finest one was 0.05, and the largest one was 1.2. It's the size of that tip, but it also lets you know how much ink is coming out. Now, pencil-wise, if we're doing it, and I'm going to use the pencil over here, fine cross-hatching might be like this number 8. This would give a good example of a distance. So if you wanted something to appear in the distance or farther away from you, you might use a finer line than these dark lines. They're thicker lines. So you can tell it takes a lot longer to cover things with the fine cross-hatching. But when you look at cross-hatching with the mechanical pencil, which is probably if we did a 1.2 ink tip as opposed to a 0.05 ink tip, that's the difference that you would get. Okay, so the next one is called basket or woven cross-hatching or hatching. We're not going to cross-hatch this. And basket or woven is, if you look at a basket, you might see a side where one side goes in there, and then down here is another one. So that the basket cane is caught with a weave. That's what we're doing here. So I can do a woven one. I can just make hatch lines, but I can change them around. What this might do is give me a sense of chaos, of movement. Okay? Now the last one that we're going to talk about is tick hatching. A tick is just a little tick, a dot. We could even call it pointillism. If you go back through some of the videos and you look at pointillism, they're just bigger points, but they're very small. I'm just putting these in here. I'm not thinking about where they're going. I could make circles with them. I could just put ticks. More like a clock ticking, tick, 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 tick. So these are our 6 basic ways to hatch in our art. I got all of this information off of Craftsy today. So it's amazing what you can find out on the internet. Let's look at our teddy bear. Now we've got to plan this. So I know when I put my teddy bear in here, and I've got a box. Once again, I'm just creating my lines where I'm working so I don't go out of them. And this is a large teddy bear. I don't want to have to do more than I need to do right here. Okay, so here's my teddy bear. If I put a box, a square box, around this teddy bear. I can figure out where my teddy bear goes. I've got to find my basic simple shapes. What are my simple shapes? Circles, squares, triangles, and a line. Those are my simple shapes that I'm going to be using in trying to figure out how to draw my teddy bear. Let's look at the placement. If I were to get a ruler out and measure this line and then take 1/2 of that line, I could be more precise, but I don't need to be that precise. I can tell if I divide this box in half, that's probably up here, that's where it is, 1/2. So let's divide this line in half, and that's probably right there and there. So now we know how our teddy bear is going to sit within our box that we drew. So, what is the center? Right about here, and I'm going to switch now. You don't have to do this, but I'm switching to a pink gel pen so you can see what I did. This is my 1/2 mark. Just below that mouth. All right? Let's go ahead and say the circle of the teddy bear is right here. There's the basic shape. And it's just below 1/2. I don't have to measure this. I just have to realize that it is just below 1/2. So let's go ahead and get the basic shape of the ears. Well, the ears are a half circle. The funny thing about the ears are, this ear is the same size as that ear. So when you make your circles, you don't want one ear great big on one side and little on the other side. Okay, let's go ahead now and let's look at the placement within the face. Once again, use your eyes to measure this stuff. But if we take and cut this circle in half right here, and in half this way, and we meet in the middle, we know that the nose, which is an oblong circle, an oval, goes right at 1/2 and below. Because here's our 1/2 mark. So now we know where to place this, 1/2 and below. All right, let's figure out where the eyes are. So if this is half of our circle, right here is our line, right here. And if I make that 1/2, nope, that's not right. It's going to have to make it 1/2 and 1/2. So I've actually cut this upper circle into fourths. And that's how big my eyes are. And my eyes are another circle. We can put this in later. This isn't going to be difficult for us to figure out. Let's look at the body of the bear. I can't say that it's a circle, just one big circle, because there's too many little bits and pieces. But what I can say is here is a square. Here is a triangle. And here is 2 circles about the same size. I'm not going to go beyond this in figuring out where to put it on my sheet. or my paper, because I'm going to use my hatching skills to make the fur. So we've got this outlined. We've got to draw it now onto our paper. You've got the reference photo. You can do the same figuring out how to draw it. Here's my square. You can see this square is larger than this square. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to find my 1/2, because I know that the head was 1/2. Okay, but here's another thing we've got to think about. If we divide this up here in half and in half again, we know that our circle for the head goes within this space right there. So let's get 1/2 here and 1/2 here. And remember, your paper that you're working on is going to have to erase these lines. So you don't want to put them too dark. These are just the places for you to be able to place this onto your paper. Okay, let's go ahead and let's get that circle in here. We know that it's just below, because I made my note, 1/2 and below that line. So that's probably about right there. And the top of the circle is there, and the bottom goes there. And when I drew my circle, I used my whole arm. I didn't draw it with my wrist. I used my whole arm to get that. Okay, now let's go ahead and look at the ear. The ear is right at the 1/2 mark, but we've got to put that on our circle here. That's 1/2 of my circle. And it goes the same size. And I can go ahead and I can give that the same way that I did that bottom circle. I can always come up when I get done and erase any lines that I might need to. Let's look at the nose. We said the nose was in the middle. Here's the middle. And it was just below 1/2. Now, you might need to figure out where on this line up here the eyes start. And I've just made it another 1/2 there. So I might want to put a 1/2 here and a 1/2 here so my eyes don't get too close together. Okay, let's start with the nose, and it's just below 1/2. Two ways to do it. The nose goes up and the eyes are just outside of it, or you can go by using these marks up here, and they're circles. We said that we were going to come back later and do the mouth. Now let's work on our box. We might have to come out here and give me another 1/2 of this part right here. And that's not going to be quite right because I went down from this point here. So that's probably in thirds. Now, the box didn't go all the way to the bottom. That's going to be an important thing. Then we did a triangle, and we did another triangle, both about the same size. And then we did another circle, and then we did another circle. This is a good, I don't like this circle. If I don't have it right at this stage, it's not going to come out the way I want it to. Okay, I'm happy with this. So now it's time to put away our pencil and to think about our hatching. I'm going to work on the same bear, but what I'm looking for now are shadows. I could have printed this off in color and it would have been a cute little brown bear. But if I print it in color, I don't see the shadows the way I should see the shadows. So here's a shadow. And here's a shadow. We know that that is behind the head. That means it's giving it a little bit of shape. Around the eyes, and I'm using simple shapes, are triangles of shadow. Triangle here, here. So I know to put shadows in there. Then over here is another shadow. That's going to give my face. There's another shadow right here. Another one right here. That's going to give my face contour. It's going to make it 3D. Down here, we've got a shadow here and a shadow here. Those are triangles. We've got a shadow here and a shadow here. Those are triangles. We've got another shadow here and a triangle of shadow here. I didn't make a lot of triangles when I drew this bear, but when I do shadows, I'm looking for the triangles, the triangle of dark. Okay, so let's talk about hatching. I'm going to hatch one ear, and I think I'm going to start with a 0.7. And I'm going to use, I want this to be kind of chaos, but in the dark shadows, I don't want it to be too much chaos. So I'm going to probably be doing just the cross hatching, about a 1/2 inch long. Actually, I'm going to start with just the parallel. One way, and then another. Even though this gets dark right here, it's different looking than this, where I'm coloring it in. If I'm coloring it in, no light can penetrate this. What this shows, I can keep going cross-hatching again and again. And it gets darker and darker. But what happens, that there's still light here. Okay, so I'm putting in my shadows. I want you to be able to see that. Just parallel lines. And then I'm going to cross hatch, go the other way. If I want, I can do it again. And that's how I got that side so dark. Okay, so there's my shadow. My first shadow that I put in was this one here and this one here. Now around my eyes, I'm going to have a shadow, and I can do the cross hatching, but maybe we should start with just some ticking to get our basic shape. So here was just a triangle of color or of darkness right there around the eye. Okay, so I'm just ticking in the shadows. Dot, 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 dot. And I'm going around that eye. Then over here is another shadow. Just dotting it. So I've done this one now and this one. Let's go ahead and let's do this one right here. This one is going to come off of the eye. You could do a woven shadow here if you wanted to. And then I'm going to go over and I'm going to do this one. But remember, I'm just going to do the ticking. I have a lot, this is a very fine spot. Now, what if I didn't want that to be ticked that dark? How would I change that? I could change and drop down to a 0.1 pencil or pen. And do you see the difference? I'm doing the same ticking. But you see the difference? The size of pen that you use changes things a lot. Okay, so then there was some ticking or there's some cross hatching here that we did. I'm not doing any contour stuff yet. This is all parallel. But I can keep doing it if I want this shadow to get darker and darker. Okay, so I've done that one, I've done that one, I've done that one. Now I've got to get these down here. And I think I don't want them as dark. So I'm going to put this 0.7 down, and I'm going to pick up a 0.3. And I'm going to do the ticking. And it's like this. Just in a triangle form. Okay, got the shadows around my mouth. Now let's work on the shadows underneath the head. I'm going back to my other pen, and I'm still using the cross hatching. But what I'm doing, I'm not outlining this circle. I'm not drawing that line so that I make sure I get it. I'm just putting the hatch marks up to it. I really don't want to draw the lines. The farther down these, the dark cross hatching goes, is going, and the shadow that's created is going to tell us that this head overhangs this area. Now you should be able to see a circle. But let's look at this. When I found my shadows with my pencil or my pen, it came into a triangle. I don't have a triangle here. So now's the time to make that correction. And I just keep this side over here also has a triangle. Okay, I got that in. That's done and that's done. Now what we need to do is get our tummy in. And there's a triangle of color or of shadow right here. So I'm going to cross hatch that in. And then there was a triangle down here that started here. Got a little bit bigger here and then went up. Same way here. Okay, we're going to start with these shadows right here. We've done every shadow. So we have all the shadows in now. And these are shadows that we can always intensify. But now we're going to look at this, and we're going to look at the texture of our teddy bear. So when we use our hash marks, we're going to have to go into one of these, the contour hatching, or maybe even the basket woven hatching, to try and get the texture of the teddy bear hair. Also, when we go to do the eyes, we're going to leave this space, or this, let's use this pen. We're going to make sure and leave this white and work around it. But we're not going to color that eye in. This is going to take a long time to do this, to finish him out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now speed up the video. Or first I'm going to show you how I'm going to do the texturizing. Then I'm going to speed up the video, and I'm going to work, and I'll let you know how long it takes me to work this picture in. So let's work on an ear. We want the texture in the ear. And if you'll notice, you've got different shades in here. Right here is a shadow. Right here is a shadow. Right here is a shadow. That's in between the hairs. So what I'm going to do is I've got my pins, the numbers here, and I'm going to use a smaller number of 0.3, and probably I'm going to start with the 0.05 just to see what it looks like. Remember, that's that fine tip. It's going to give you not a lot of shadow or of ink in it. So let's try that. And I'm going to use the contour right here. That looks sort of like fur. And so I'm going to just give it little contours. Then I'm going to turn it around. And then I'm going to turn it around. If you're getting a texture look to it, that's what we want. I might try, while I've got doing this on the, so you can see, I'm going to try the 03 and see what that looks like. Oh, I can tell a difference, can you? I like this finer one, but then I like to come in with this one and give it these little areas. Okay, so now I'm going to go silent and just going to work this slowly so I have a picture that I can be proud of. If I work this real fast, it's going to come out with something that isn't something I'm really proud of. Okay. Okay, there was a little recording malfunction, and so I didn't realize that it had stopped recording. So I'm going to explain what I did. I looked at my picture. Okay, so what I did here is where you see a white mark, I highlighted that for you so that you would see it. I left that blank. I did the eye with a 0.3, but yet I did the highlight with a 0.5. I didn't want too much difference between that. So there's a highlight here and here and on the nose. Then, after I was done doing my face the way I wanted it done with a 0.3, I came in with the 0.5, I did the face. I came in with a 0.3 and I just drew in the lines of where the mouth should be. Notice that we don't see all of the mouth because some of the fur is in front of it. So I gave it that in and out of where I'm going to see that fur. Maybe right here we need a little bit right there. Okay, I went over my the lines, my shadow lines. I did that. I put that 0.3 or 0.05 all over, even over these darker lines that I had put in that were my shadows. So now I'm going to speed it up again, and I might stop for the feet. Okay, I'm done. But let's look at it. Let's criticize it, critique it. Don't be afraid to critique your work. And don't feel like you have to um, tell everybody, oh, it's bad, hoping that everybody else is going to say it's good. I want you to be able to look at your work and to see if it meets your expectations. Remember that the first time you do something, it is not the best. There are mistakes. There are little things that we can all do better. So I look at this. I've erased all of my pencil markings. You can't see that I had pencil markings on there. And I compare it to the picture. I've got a head, I've got 2 feet, I've got 2 arms, 2 ears, 2 eyes, a nose, and a mouth. It looks like the picture. It looks like a teddy bear. Is it exactly like the picture? If you want exactly like the picture, take a photo. This is art. This is the way you interpret it. So I'm putting my picture aside and I'm looking at my bear. How did I do? I did good. I got shadows here. I've got shadows that show his cheeks. I've got shadows that show one arm might be in front and one arm might be in back. I like that. Now I'm going to look at it and say, what could I have done better? Well, over here, when I did my shadows in my ears, I got too uniform. I like it better when I just put a comma here and a comma there, maybe a U here and a U there. I like it better than here. So I learned something. I learned how to do that better. I really like my eyes. But next time I might leave a little more white. That's where this comes in at. I can take my white gel pen and go in just a little spot here and there, give it a little white. It's okay. We all can do that. This to me is what I want. I've told you what it was good about it. I told you what was bad about it. But I am happy with this. That's what you've got to do after you've done your artwork. Look at it. Look at it with a clean eye. Look away, do something different. Come back and look at it again. And you're going to see the good and you're going to see the bad. If I were to frame this, I would probably take, and in the corner, not great big in the center, I would just put my name. So it sort of matches what I've done. I don't want to sign it like, because all of a sudden my name has become my art. I just gave it a little bit of a signature. There we go. My name became that art. So this is what we're starting with. We've done the positive. We've shadowed it and we've shaded it. And next time we're going to do the negative because we're going to work on scratchboard. So it should be interesting. I'm not going to do a teddy bear on scratchboard. I've got to figure out what it'll be, but I'll let you know.